What up, peeps? Welcome to the Podcast. I'm your host, John Telewa, aka the Case Bandit. And in this show, we explore the key elements that shape our fulfilling existence, from health and well being to financial success, meaningful relationships, and the pursuit of happiness. We cover it all. Our guests include experts, professionals, and everyday individuals who have remarkable stories to tell. Tune in to learn practical tips, gain valuable insights, and discover strategies for personal growth and transformation. Whether you're seeking to improve your health, build your wealth, enhance relationships, or find lasting happiness, we got you covered. Welcome to today's episode. Another amazing episode with a repeat guest, of course. This might,
common guest
at this moment, it's just part of the show.
Yeah.
Good political analyst. So welcome back to the show. Just for those people who don't know you, tell the people your name and what you do.
Adrian Oluoch here. This is the third time now. Now, in fact, I'm now a common guest here. Anything political, I'll be here.
For sure.
I'm a legal thought leader, currently a graduating lawyer in a few weeks or days, and also an advocate trainee at Kenya School of Law.
Nice.
But apart from that, importantly, I'm a political strategist and also a good political analyst, especially for this generation of ours. I'm good to be here today. Tell me what we are digressing.
Okay, so today we do have I had to reach out because, a lot has been happening over the 2 weeks.
For sure.
And I think, we can't ignore the fact that, as much as they are just like our neighbors, we can touch a bit about things that are happening around probably Africa, around the world. And, we can start with East Africa because these are our neighbors over here in Tanzania.
For sure. In fact, they always say that you are not free until your neighbor is free.
There you go.
If you're fighting for democracy and independence and the rule of law in your own country, you'll never get it until your neighbor is free.
Makes sense to me.
We can never talk about stability in Kenya if Somalia is not stable today. The rebels, the Al-Shabaab, will definitely purge into our own country.
That's true.
If you're fighting for democracy, we must also make sure that Tanzania, Uganda uphold the same as we do. So definitely we have to talk about it today.
Okay. So now, just to start off, I think even last year, typical conversation, I did a really good comparison and I was telling people that, look at how our country, even with the law and the government, is handling things. We did have our internet, we did have the protest, and unfortunately, a few people did lose their life.
For sure.
But I was saying, if you compare our extreme and the extremes of other countries, how they can go, it's a bit insane when you think what's happening out there.
In fact, for Tanzania has been so extreme. Do you imagine 1,000 people dying?
There you go.
In a span of almost 2 days of protests, 2 or 3 days. 1,000 people.
Is it 1,000 for sure?
It is 1,000 the number of people they have been able to count. In fact, there was a report that was done by a certain independent journalist in Tanzania. It was at 700 after 2 days of protest. After 3 days, it was acclaimed to be 1,000. And in fact, it is more than 1,000 because it has been hard for independent journalists, not independent, but other mainstream and NGO journalists to clarify on the amount of people who have been died, because the government has literally shut down the access of publication, has shut down anyone who's trying to investigate that matter. So it is more than 1,000.
Larry Madowo couldn't go to Tanzania.
And he explained it very well. It is impossible for them to set up independent investigation as journalists. So why would you not even say it's 1,000? It is 1,000 people who have been died. And one of the things that I've loved about the internet is that people are always recording.
Yeah, true.
In fact, I found a very good Telegram channel at a certain point that was putting out hundreds of videos from Tanzania. And you could see people blatantly being killed on the street. There was another video of over 15 bodies piled up at a certain street. So Samia Suluhu killed over 1,000 Tanzanians. You can imagine that.
Listen, I said it last year And, a lot of people, couldn't understand what I was trying to say. But this is exactly what I was saying, because look at the extremes. And I also, even on our last conversation, I was saying, even women and children are not being spared in Tanzania.
They're not entirely. In fact, I was wondering, what if Tanzania faced a situation whereby they were trying to invade parliament the same way Kenyans we were doing it? I think Samia would decide to kill 1 million youths.
She wouldn't care.
She wouldn't care anything about it.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that at least there is some sense of tolerance in our police officers.
Yeah, that's exactly
and also
what
our
my
system
point
of
was.
governance.
Yes.
Kenyans, in some way, there is that bureaucracy and that authoritarianism, but there is a sense of tolerism.
Yep.
Whereby a police officer would just watch you as you hurl insults at them. A police officer would see a small crowd of people protesting and even throwing stones at them, but they would just shoot in the air, even though at some point maybe they would kill some people. But
when it comes to that extreme, they might have to, but they can restrain themselves. That's what I was trying to say compared to other people. And I gave examples even in the USA.
For sure.
I said Uganda. I said Sudan. These are the countries that I mentioned. And I was telling people do you think or understand what could actually happen if
for
just
Tanzania
something
has been extreme. In fact, I was also flabbergasted by what happens. As a law student, you're always reading this Human Rights Watch by Amnesty UN because you've studied human rights law. And I was really surprised at what really happened in Tanzania. That is when now I realized that the issue of democracy in Tanzania has been a fallacy for a long time.
For sure.
That is when I now decided to read about the political history of Tanzania to understand how has it come that CCM, Chama Cha Mapinduzi, has become an authoritarian since 1961. And I've realized that for a very long time, Tanzanians have never protested. So this is the first time.
Yep.
So these protests has awakened and enlightened the fact that Tanzanians are not democratically free.
They're not.
They're not, yeah.
And also now, just even before we touch on the Tanzanian president, let's just talk about the electoral process in general. What do you think about the election process and how I had the rivaling parties and even candidates, most of them were in jail anyway.
Yeah, but in fact, I want to tell you something. For you to understand the situation in Tanzania, I want you to go back to history a little bit. And one of the people whom I criticize highly and I don't look up to is Julius Nyerere. In fact, Africans have this big problem of glorifying and romanticizing their founding fathers. While the problems that they face from the beginning started with these founding fathers.
It stemmed from back then.
The problem that we face today in Kenya with corruption, the issues of land grab, it started with our founding father, Jomo Kenyatta. The same happens in Tanzania, Julius Nyerere. So, and the reason why you have to analyze this is because you question, how comes Tanzania has never had a president from another party except CCM, Chama Cha Mapinduzi? So the first president for Chama Cha Mapinduzi is Julius Nyerere in 1961 after independence. So most people think Julius Nyerere was an enlightened and a good leader, but not. Immediately, Julius Nyerere took over power with the party. That is where now all the problem now started. So Julius Nyerere, first of all, he introduced a single party system, just like it was with Moi. Julius Nyerere had this ideology of socialism and also maybe this ideology of communism. So he wanted a state whereby the people are ruled by only one party and only one party gets to decide on who becomes the president and who gets to lead that country. But now the problem with that is that this party abuses power so much and people cannot even criticize it. So these people set up certain mechanism in order to make sure that they have full control over that country.
Yep.
So number one, the government manipulates the rule of law and they start jailing people. Did you know Julius Nyerere jailed people?
I didn't know.
There is a report that was happening with Amnesty during apartheid.
Like random people or political rivals?
Political rivals.
Okay.
and anyone who was speaking against the single party system. Julius Nyerere had jailed over 1,000 individuals. Do you know at that point, comparing to the report in apartheid in South Africa, there were less number of captives than it was in Tanzania.
That's even more than the Mau Mau, if I'm not wrong.
More than it.
Yeah.
And it is being overlooked by so many historians or people who have read about Julius Nyerere. At that point, he jailed over 1,000 people who were not agreeing to the single party system of CCM. So number one is the media. First of all, Tanzania has never had a free media for a very long time. And it starts with Nyerere. So first of all, Nyerere bans certain publications and he bans people from talking freely about government issues. In fact, they say that whatever you're talking about will disturb the peace and order in Tanzania, so you cannot do it. So that is how he entrenches the kind of bureaucracy now we are seeing, the kind of stemming of putting away certain critics through publication, media's independent journalists that we're seeing today. He is the one who started it with that single mechanism of stopping people from criticizing CCM. So number two, he diverts a lot of state resources to CCM. So imagine state house having an allocation of over 12.5 billion. All that is diverted to the party, the ruling party.
Have you seen like the motorcades that Suluhu Hassan uses?
Exactly. Now,
have you seen that motorcade?
Yeah, that is what really happened.
That's ridiculous.
Samia has a motorcade of over 90 vehicles.
I have, that makes no, that woman is crazy.
You've seen? So you can literally see the display of state resources being used.
Misuse of funds.
Misuse of funds. There are Tanzanian artists who are paid an upward of 50 million Kenya shillings to be campaigning for the president.
Oh, okay, we're talking about
Diamond. All these people are paid by the state.
So the funds that we're talking about, and it makes perfect sense. That's why these artists show like such a big, lavish lifestyle.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is why you can see Harmonize dancing so well, praising Samia Suluhu. It's because there are certain state resources that are always taken by the president and diverted into the party affairs.
And it makes sense because I was wondering, where are these artists in Tanzania getting so much money? Like our monetizing in East Africa is not that high. But how comes the artists just seem to be doing so well financially? Several cars, flying in.
People like Diamond get so much support from the government.
I can tell. Now it makes perfect sense where this money comes
registering, in Tanzania right now, you cannot just register a television company or a publication company or a news media agency.
And he has a media.
He has one of the biggest media agencies.
Diamond, we see you now. It makes sense.
He was able to do that because of the kind of government relations that he has with the ruling party, CCM. He is also funded by these people. So it has become hard for him to talk anything against this government. So you see, Nyerere put up a system whereby state resources are being used to fund that ruling party. And that is what was carried down up until right now.
Okay.
But, also on a larger scale, one of the things that affected Tanzanians was the education system. So Tanzania, especially Nyerere, introduced a certain system of Ujamaa. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I remember it from school, but you can give us like just
Ujamaa was an indoctrination of Tanzanians because it taught them to be good citizens.
Yeah.
You compare the tolerance of Tanzanians and Kenyans, it is very different. Kenyans were brought up in an education system that maybe challenged some of the things. True. But the education system of Ujamaa that was introduced by Nyerere used to indoctrinate a lot of Tanzanians that we need a lot of peace. You cannot criticize the founding father of Tanzania. You cannot criticize the ruling party. Yeah. Let us be one. So that indoctrination has made that tolerance of Tanzanians for so many years to see the atrocities that are being done by the ruling party, but not speak about it. Because education is the most important thing, by the way, in a country. If you want to take control over the country, over the minds of children, you start with education.
True. Start
telling them that this is how you're supposed to act. And
these are the rules you should follow.
And that is how they will act for the entire year. So that was the problem with now Nyerere. So all these problems that we are seeing today starts with Nyerere.
Mm. Mhm.
And now after it happened, the reason why CCM has now become so radical or very intense in terms of arresting people or the kind of law warfare that they're putting in place is because at a certain point, it started losing popularity.
Among the people?
Yes, among the people. So CCM for a very long time has won elections with over 94%, just like we're seeing here today. I don't know why people are surprised. That is how it has been for a long time.
Yeah.
So there was a certain year in the 2010s whereby it reduced to about 70-something%. So after that, that is where things now started being intense. And it was intense with Magufuli now.
That's when now he came in and now like things were just like,
Yeah, so the moment he started
straight
losing
bulldozing everything.
popularity, Magufuli now wanted to intensify the rule of the party in the country. Tundu Lissu was shot multiple times.
Who's Tundu Lissu?
Tundu Lissu is now the main opposition party
Okay.
in Tanzania. Think of him like the Raila of Tanzania. Right now that he's even in detention makes him quite a hero there.
He's still in detention right now.
Still in detention right now. But that is not the worst part he has faced. Tundu Lissu was shot multiple times and he had to be flown to Belgium. It was in September 2017. He was shot by Magufuli. And he was seen as one of the candidates who was going to win against Magufuli and the ruling party at that point. So the kind of suffering we're seeing with Tundu Lissu did not just start today. It started with Magufuli.
Yeah.
So this guy has been a force when it comes to politics in Tanzania.
And then now if we are, like, do you have any other pointer before I want us to touch on like maybe Suluhu's maybe background? Because I can see she just came from like a simple, like, background.
Yeah, definitely. She's quite educated, very educated.
Yeah, and see she has like a master's degree in community economic development.
I don't know if she studied in London.
Yeah, both in UK or in UK she got a diploma. And then that's a diploma in economics from the University of Manchester. And then later on in the States, she got like, what's this? A master's degree in community economic development via joint program between Open University of Tanzania and Southern New Hampshire University in the USA.
That is quite a good biography when it comes to education.
Yeah. So she started like her political journey, I guess, in 2000s, like 2010 there.
Yes.
Just among youth, women, tourism, trade in the Zanzibar government. Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay, and then from 2010 to 2015, she served as a Minister of State in Vice President's Office, Responsibility of Union Affairs, a key portfolio in Tanzanian's Union of Tanganyika plus Zanzibar.
Yes.
Interesting. But, later on now, like let's say in 2021, after the death of Magufuli, she
now drastically rose to power.
By default now, she was just like, you know what, since you're the vice president.
She becomes the first female president in East Africa.
Exactly. There you go. And, from there, we can see the job that she has done. But what do you think about just even how she's ruling Tanzania? Definitely funds are being misused. Now it makes a lot of sense now that you've touched on how artists are living those lavish lifestyles. It's from the government, taxpayers' money probably. But just what do you think about her as a person? Because we also have to break down the person behind, who's calling all the shots for all these things to happen.
First of all, Samia was hope for the people of Tanzania and hope for the entire East Africa.
Yeah.
Because at that point, while she was taking over power, Magufuli was at one point seen as an authoritarian. You've remembered it. Most people even called Magufuli a dictator at some point.
Yep.
So immediately Magufuli died and Samia Suluhu took over power. In fact, the first thing she did is relax some of the laws and some of the restrictions that the ruling party were being accused of. So the news outlets were given a chance to maybe talk about certain things. There were journalists who were given a chance to come to Tanzania, film, the inauguration of the new president, talk about the critical issues of corruption. So those happened within the 3 months.
Yeah.
So people were very hopeful that this is the new president that is going to be very very progressive when it comes to Tanzania and the whole of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But now the problem comes when it doesn't last too long. The fiery opposition that is put in place do not see Samia as a good leader.
Yeah.
And they still will go ahead stamping that for Tanzania to be free democratically, we must not just focus on Samia, but we must focus on the ruling party itself. So people like Tundu Lissu now get so much, after relaxing everything, now they start, talking about the political issues and the political affairs. You've asked me who calls the shot in Tanzania.
Yeah.
We have senior government officials or senior party leaders at Chama Cha Mapinduzi. Think of them like the National Executive Council.
Mm-hmm.
They're filled with very old people. Very old.
I'm sure business moguls who have a lot of controlling the Tanzanian economy.
You can make a slight comparison to ODM. ODM had a certain national executive committee which decides you get a ticket, you don't get a ticket. You do this. So that is also the same in CCM. So CCM noticed that if we don't cut these people quite early, it will be impossible for Samia Suluhu to be re-elected. And because the fact that there is no better candidate right now other than him, and a ruling party would never want a situation whereby their president does not go for a second term. The party becomes very unpopular. So they start pressuring Samia Suluhu that, you have to jail some of these people. You have to make amendments to these laws so that we can be able to justify the arrest of these people.
Yeah.
And while power like any other thing corrupts. So Samia Suluhu also starts to notice that she might not get re-elected. Do you see that concept?
Mm-hmm.
So now she starts to ride on the kind of orders she's receiving from these top senior government officials.
Makes sense, because,
she now sees that you are right, I might not be re-elected. Because Tundu Lissu is now becoming more popular and people are anticipating for him to win. And not just to win, but win with another party for the first time in history.
Yeah.
So she goes full-blown on these people. In fact, she goes even worse than Magufuli.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen how it has happened.
Yep.
So they decide to detain Tundu Lissu and almost the entire opposition party.
Because the craziest part is, if you think about Magufuli, he was like the dictator who would, he would just show kind of the pressure from outside, in that somebody doesn't dare to cross certain lines.
True.
But for Suluhu, I guess for her, it's, whether you show any signs or not, but she hears any whispers or rumors of you're doing something, you're thrown inside, the conversation is later.
It's over.
The conversation is later. And even we can just even try to imagine, yes, we did have a couple of abductions here and there, but can you imagine what happens in Tanzania that we don't know of?
You are not seeing. In fact, there are a lot of people who are lost in Tanzania right now.
Yep.
That for about a year, we have never heard about them.
There you go.
There are so many international bodies that have agitated for the release of these people. It has never happened. For Tundu Lissu is only among the individuals who cannot outright be killed. Because definitely it would spark a certain controversy. And the fact that now Tanzanians have protested for the first time, it is even more dangerous.
Yeah.
So they deliberately just manipulated the rule of law. Number one, they introduced audacious laws about detention, whereby the government is now having power to detain people based on allegations of terrorism, causing disorder for all this time. Then they are now manipulating even the system, even the justice system. The judges are part of this system.
Yeah.
So it becomes a fallacy. It becomes a monkey court now.
Then this still takes me back to how I was saying, it's very, very hard, just because, let's say people are not with what the government does, because the powers that you're dealing with or you're trying to fight against, it's people who practically run the economy, people with big shares in certain big companies. So they can't just wake up and bow down to you. If they know they control the economy of the country.
Yes.
It's kind of impossible. It's primary school kid trying to threaten the headmaster.
True. So it's like Samia just came and found a system that is there.
That's already been placed. There are formulas to be followed, and she just followed.
In fact,
but she's abusing it way much because she's the 6th president, I guess. I think from what I've seen, like I think she's the 6th.
Yeah,
but there have never been extremes than her.
In fact, to see Tanzanians protest for the first time just shows you the extremism that she has done, especially in this regime. It has been terrible. In fact, she's the first female dictator in Africa right now. That is the label that people are having right now.
Actually true.
Think of it.
In fact, I
don't even think in Africa, but think of it even in the world. Mention one female dictator in the world.
Nope. I can't think of.
Samia Suluhu becomes the first dictator in the world.
So can we say she's a bad leader because she's a woman, or she's just a bad leader, period?
Power corrupts. There is nothing about being a woman. There is nothing about being a man.
Okay.
You get there and you find a system that is in place. And you are indoctrinated and manipulated to such a way that you will do anything to fight to stay in power.
And I guess you have people to answer to. It's not just about you.
And you have people to answer to. It's either you do it or you're not part
or
of
we
the
take you
leadership.
out.
Exactly.
Jeez. Okay. And then now if we were to talk about like now general media accreditation being denied, like, most journalists being denied like just access to go to Tanzania and just air out and give like, their personal like analysis about what's happening. Or even like big journalists. Did BBC and CNN do anything? Coverage?
There was no ground coverage in Tanzania. Do you see what happens when we do our protest? In fact, when Kenya has a protest, in fact, I love this media freedom in Kenya.
Wait,
it has been
I
there
said
from
it.
1961.
But how comes when I say it, I get crucified
Did
here?
you know that even during the time of Moi, Reuters, I don't know how to pronounce Reuters, or Reuters, AP, all these international medias were there. While people were being detained, they were there filming. While Raila is being released, they're there taking photos. These media houses has always been in Kenya. You saw what happened with the Gen Z protests. CNN was there. Almost the entire
anyone. You set up your tripod, do your analysis, review, go live.
There's a time even at CBD there's almost 1,000 journalists. And
the cameras were so many.
So many. So our government has had that media freedom, whereby they tell, even if we are killing you, we'll still allow the media to show people what is happening.
So you still have kind of that freedom of press and speech. Speech, I'll say, like, I put it with a grain of salt because, there's some extremes that people, if you go, like they might have to
Yes. But in Tanzania, we don't see that. Did you see any ground coverage from CNN, even from their TikTok, from their Instagram? It wasn't there.
Even most of their influencers were very quiet.
It's because they blatantly don't allow it. In fact, in totality, they do not allow it. And even, the registration of companies, media companies, or even independent journalism is impossible in Tanzania.
You can't do it.
Yeah. There are so many laws that have been put in place that you cannot just wake up one day and set up a company to do with the media reporting in Tanzania. In Kenya is one of the free spaces you can set up a company. If today CNN comes and they say they want to set up a headquarters in Kenya, they would easily do it. In fact, if the government tries to stop them, they would go to court and the court would give orders for them.
Actually, very true. Kenya has, like, I've said it enough times, we have a lot of freedom, and at times we take it for granted because it's normal. It's normal. Typically, you can just wake up in the morning and do like a critic video and break down this minister, this president we didn't like. You can do all that, and nobody really cares about, whatever you're doing. But in other countries, it's responded to with extreme action, meaning like death, being jailed like for life, torture. It's just a bit on the extreme side. And even since you've mentioned, we're talking about the press.
Yes.
You mentioned something last time to do with like a bill that was passed to do with, what was it exactly? To do with censorship or something to do with that?
Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act.
Yeah. So
For Kenya, right?
Yeah, for Kenya. So what exactly was your main point for that? Because we'll go back to TZ, because I'm just using this in reference to like them not being able to express anything in social media.
In fact, as we talk about the Tanzanian situation, we can draw a clear comparison to what we are having right now.
Yes.
Because the same way CCM saw that they're becoming very unpopular, they now stop people from talking about government issues. You know, it's also illegal in Tanzania for you to get online and criticize the government and talk about government issues if you are not registered as a news agency.
I said it before. Yeah.
Yes. So in Kenya, Ruto has also realized his popularism is too bad.
But do you think he will go to those extremes, though?
That is why I tell you there is something we call law warfare. If I can't come kill you where you are at your apartment or your podcast, I will use the law to frustrate you.
But do you think that's where he wants to take this?
It is exactly where he wants to take this.
Do you think it's okay for the government to censor some people when they take it too far? Or there should be like overall freedom for everybody to express himself in social media? And I have a follow-up for this.
Let me tell you one thing about criticism.
Yeah.
Number one, when it comes to the government and the state, you are allowed to say the worst thing. In fact, that is the philosophy when it comes to democracy.
Okay.
As long as you choose to be a president, I have the right to abuse you, to abuse your family, to abuse everyone.
It's okay for somebody to do that?
If it is in connection.
Is it okay for somebody to say that?
Listen, I want to tell you my point.
Okay.
Philosophically.
Okay.
As long as it is tied to the reason, the just reason of accountability and your position as a president.
Oh, okay.
We are inherently not supposed to be loving the state. That is what the philosophy sees.
Okay.
So as long as you choose to become a president, people must be given a reason to hate you for the fact that you hold that position.
Okay.
That is why if I come at you personally as a friend and I talk about certain things, you know, there is that heavy burden of bullying or maybe accountability. Like it is seen as something very immoral that affects you very personally. But if I'm doing it based on your position as a government leader, there is a hidden reason as to why I'm doing it.
So there shouldn't be, like, are there anywhere where lines should be drawn? Or lines that people shouldn't cross?
Let me say, when it comes to freedom of speech and criticizing a government, I don't put any line.
Okay.
That should be crossed.
So everybody should be able to express.
Everybody should be able to express, to hate, and to criticize government officials.
Okay. So,
but at the same time, freedom. But when it comes to personal relationships, that is where now I take a very restrictive viewpoint, especially as a legal thought leader.
Okay.
If it is personal relationship, even me just abusing that your head is big, that one is very bad. But if you are Ruto and I'm telling you, unakula pesa yetu, that's why your head is big, that should be permissible.
Okay, but now you see, here's the thing now. You see, even like if we talk government critics, the number is quite small compared to these personals that have the freedom that we're talking about. And that's where the issue comes in, because if we're talking about overall freedom, how come somebody like Andrew Kibe, his channel was taken down? And they took away his source of income because his voice was big. So if we're really talking about like freedom of press, somebody can wake up in the morning and we shouldn't have a line like, you know, or like you said, personal relationships and stuff, like somebody shouldn't. Like, where do we draw the line? Because somebody like him, he had like a very big community, a big channel that he was making money from, and it was taken away from him.
But think of it just the same way I've made that statement.
Yeah.
Did you see the kind of content Andrew Kibe puts out?
Yes.
Most of it were taking shots personally at people.
But that's okay. That's why I'm saying, if he can't do that, why now when I open social media, from Monday to Friday, it's people taking shots at each other? And even if you think about it, how many people are being taken to court now? Like we have like from the Burale case in court. We also have like Nani who just won like a recent case. Was it 2 days ago? Obina, he won the case for defamation against Radio Africa and the lady that they hosted. So that's why I'm saying, like, think about, like, even from Monday to Friday, how many people do you see taking personal attacks at each other because online they think they have the freedom to do so? Like, even if you compare to the government, super minimal. Personal shots are taken every other single day.
Yes, in fact, freedom of speech, okay, the right or the freedom of speech is limited. Okay, in our constitution, we have non-derogatory laws, or laws that can never be limited. It's especially in Article 25, very common.
Okay.
So, such as,
so government officials
torture,
and...
Yeah, free from torture, rape, unfair, fair judicial process, all those are rights that cannot be limited. But when it comes to something like freedom of speech, there are now limitations that are always placed.
So if somebody says something bad about me and I don't like it, and because I know it's not factual, I can be able to take them to court.
You can be able to take them to court. But, okay, now when it comes to limitation, it is mostly under the discretion of the law. So despite the fact that the law can provide for certain limitation, like maybe you cannot, be bullying someone, you cannot be instigating, suicide to someone, the law can state for that. But at the same time, it has to be highly interpreted by the court. So if you say that maybe someone said something about me and I feel it's not right, the court has a burden to interpret those facts to make sure that this person was actually lying.
Yeah.
Okay, the court has a burden to interpret these facts to make sure that the words that were stated can actually cause suicide to this person.
You remember the guy who was recording the girlfriend who was threatening to kill herself?
Yes.
And it became a whole issue. He was taken to court and everything. But finally he was let go. I don't think he was arrested even. Like, he just went for...
Yeah. It's because even at that situation, the court can interpret that maybe this person does not have the ability to prevent her from doing it.
Yeah.
And
she might even harm you when you're trying to actually stop her.
So that interpretation is there. But actually, freedom of speech in itself, it is limited. Yeah. That one, you're very right about it.
There you go. So we can say definitely government officials that's like a lane that the public can have to openly criticize, I guess, with facts. And even they should know, like, once they sign up for their job, people can be able to, like, now criticize, like, hey, we were expecting this project to be finished. We were expecting this project or these funds to be allocated for this, and they were not. And now you go with...
And they can't just criticize you formally.
Yeah.
They do it in the most informal ways.
Yeah, because, like, that's not they might not use the right articulation for, like, we're talking about ordinary mwananchi.
That's why you're getting names for the president, Zakayo. That is why you're getting other things. So, if you go to court and you try to argue such kind of a thing, let's say the president decides to take Adrian in court because I called him Zakayo. The court will take a certain step or inference that, this position that you took comes with this. And we cannot limit your accountability and the power of citizen to criticize you just because there's some satire or jokes that you do not like about you.
Okay. It makes sense. Also, like, sense. Just gives, like, a little bit of context to what people should know, like, which lines to cross and which ones not to cross. Because now there's a very common thing. Once you say something bad about someone, just be ready with the consequences that might come with. Because now lawsuits are flying back and left, and a lot of people are getting payouts. I could see 6 million, 20 million. I'm like, what?
This is the period. In fact,
yeah,
I'll be an advocate in 2027.
Yeah.
Opening my own law firm. I'm loving now the culture that Kenyans are developing. Sue after sue.
Yeah. And like, if you notice, like, this is something like in the States we hear, like, even so people much. Like, somebody just the company, you wake up and then they're settling you with like 30 million.
People are suing every day. People are very open. So there is that culture, and I'm loving now that Kenyans are developing the culture of suing.
Yeah.
Every time I hear a lot of friends, they are like, my landlord did this to me, I'm going to sue him.
Yeah.
So that tolerance of just letting things go is dying in Kenya.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
Do anything wrong right now to a Kenyan, they sue you. And we are happy as lawyers because that is now where we're getting work from.
And I think we also, now it's still, that's why I keep telling, and I've said this enough times, like on the podcast, we are in a very good country.
Yeah.
we're in a very good country, and there's a lot of leniency with a lot of things. As long as you're not crossing like the extreme lines, you can be able. As long as like just basics on the law, like how people are being thrown, like let's say outside a matatu because you don't have 10 shillings, 30 shillings.
Look at that.
Like what kind of lawsuit that company, like is it which I don't want to name the wrong.
Okay, it's a factual statement. Super Metro is.
It's Super. I didn't want to say the wrong Nini, and then now we're talking about lawsuits here. And then I close my podcast here. Can you imagine? Yeah. So, like, how many times have we heard about like Super Metro and issues? And I'm just guessing, like, a lot of ordinary Mwananchi, they don't understand like the kind of settlement you can get from like Super Metro. They're giving me at least 60 million. I swear.
And
60.
That is what I'm saying.
Minimum.
I have it that now it's making headline.
Yeah.
So now Kenyans are knowing that this person can say something wrong about me and I can get 6 million from him.
And so even the vetting process will be?
Yes. So it makes people now to be careful. So even you as a company, you'll realize, Kenyans are awakened right now. Let me warn my workers that they should not infringe certain things. In fact, I remember even our own landlord was telling me that, you're a law student. I know that if you have rent arrears, I'll have to write you a notice.
Hey, you can't just come here.
I'll not come and close your door. So the landlord was like, I'll have to be careful a little bit. So, in fact, let me just say this. There is a process like in legal matters. Like your landlord cannot come lock your door.
True.
And I see most people are tolerant about it. In fact, I saw a viral video on TikTok whereby the landlord had removed the roof.
I saw that. That was insane.
You saw that?
Yeah.
And how are you tolerating that as a citizen? In fact, if the landlord removes that roof from you, you can even get a compensation of even 4 million from that landlord. That infringes your rights so much. And that is why I tell people you have to be very aware of the legal system and the rights that you have. Like that person has the rights of a tenant. The moment you lock that door, the moment you take that roof, that is seen as illegal evacuation in law. In fact, in law, let me just digress this. In law, as a landlord, you are not even allowed to enter into the premise of the tenant.
There you go.
You have leased and you have given away your rights as the owner of that property to that person. You cannot lock the door of that person. The moment you lock the door of that person, that is seen as illegal evacuation. So if you lock the door of that person is not able to sleep in your own house. You will be given compensation for illegal evacuation and even special damages for the amount of money that you might have used to book a hotel or go sleep somewhere maybe for a month or something.
And I'll say it's breaking and entering, first of all.
Exactly.
Broke into my house.
But you can even, in fact, the elements can even account to burglary.
There you go.
A criminal case.
There you go.
Because you do not have any right as a landlord to be getting into the property that you have already leased all the rights to the person. So I was looking at that person and tell you, how are you tolerant to let the landlord take off your roof?
And I think, that's why, like, I think when we do such episodes, it's to inform ordinary Mwananchi to understand. And that's why, like, even in developed countries, again, I'll use states as an example because, like, it's top tier when it comes to all these things.
Yes.
I've never had so many lawsuits than what I've witnessed and just heard, like, from the states. It's crazy. So if we know about, like, how even law firms at times, they always say, like, what? We'll take this case pro bono because they already know this is a win. We go to court. This is easy.
So the reason why we also take pro bono is something called costs, like the cost of the lawsuit. So when I win a case, let's say I have a case against you, then I win. You as the losing party,
you
are
pay
obligated to pay for the suits. So we have no problem of taking pro bono. So sometimes when a client comes to you with a case, of course there are clients who have money to pay for a case. They can just pay upfront and there's no problem. But there's certain clients who come with very good cases, but they don't have the money. And
you hear the company. You hear the name of the company,
I'll do it for free, don't worry. If I win, the cost will just be awarded from you. You just let me handle the case for you.
I'll give an example, like, also like, with, I'll use allegedly again. Now I have to use law terms here. Like how, like, we see online all the time. Bolt has so many incidents.
Yes.
So many bad incidents. Bolt driver. And I'm always just thinking in my head, do you understand the kind of payout you can get from this company? Hey.
When people don't do it, people don't sue.
The payout that you would get from these companies. And I'll tell you, like, especially, like, let's say if a company is like it's like kind of Kenyan and also tied to an overseas kind of like
Yes,
company.
and overseas.
Easy,
You can
money. I'd rather follow that case for like 5 years, but I know we're settling for like 50 to 100 M.
That is what I tell
They will
everyone.
pay
In fact,
you. They
there
will
was
pay.
also a certain company
Yeah.
at the time that we were suing
Yeah.
on employment issues. And first of all, the company was pretending like, go to court, do what you want to do.
They always do that. Yeah.
Because they thought that individual did not have the capacity to go to court.
Yeah.
The moment they were given summons to appear to court, they
Paperwork.
saw the kind of evidence we had, the recordings and everything. The company had to call our law firm and tell them, can we have an out-of-court settlement?
Yeah, let's settle
We
this.
told them no.
What?
We already took all considerable measures to try and solve it outside.
You refused.
You refused. And you thought that we would not go to, my client would not go to court. You know, at that first, the client was trying to follow up with the company. But the moment they saw the client went to court, they begged for the out-of-court settlement. So they know.
So there you go, guys. You know, with law matters, and of course, this is still in ties to like we're talking from freedom of speech, and we're just talking, and we, you know, it took like a bit. We just expound it like a bit,
yeah.
and then now back to like just, you know, political issues that are affecting like maybe let's say Tanzania, right? You know, if we compare Tanzania and Kenya,
Yes.
I think Tanzania did look beautiful.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to wonder, do you think they will be able to rebuild like in time? Because, you know, like in Kenya, people can burn the streets today. By next week, Akina Mosiri are putting new dustbins. Like Kanjo is like, actually, I've been really impressed with how like
fact,
they can be able to rebuild a lot of things like super fast.
In fact, that is where a lot of tendering process is done immediately.
There you go.
But the damage in Tanzania that you're supposed to be worried about is not physical. It is majorly mentally. Just how Tanzanians have felt. Okay, the damage has been very bad. But I loved the strategy of Tanzanians that they did. First of all, they did not destroy so much public property. It was just a few signs, a few barricades and all. But one thing I loved is that they target private businesses of people.
Of celebrities who are supporting and pushing the government agenda.
There were buses who were burnt down. They belonged to companies, to people who were government apologists for Samia Suluhu. So that is one thing I loved. So when it comes to those private property, definitely they cannot be held accountable. In fact, it's just, if you have insurance, it's good. If you didn't have, those are acts of God. Nobody anticipated that. So when it comes to rebuilding, they wouldn't have to worry so much about it. But it's good because it pinches most of these apologists and it tells them that what you are enjoying, the company you're enjoying, it's because of us. The music you're putting out, it's because of us. The people who are hiring your buses, it's because of us. So if you speak against us, we have the power to take that away from you. So there wasn't so much public property destroyed, but what Tanzanians will never wake away from was the fact that they have seen that they can revolt against the government now. They have now started to question the basic foundations of their politics in Kenya. So even right now, you cannot kill someone like Tundu Lissu because there will be a protest.
And even I think now international organizations will now step in because they're like, I think, you know, and it's very unfortunate because at times I'm always trying to say like, it's really kind of hard to control governments as much as we protest. Because just think about like even, because I mean, aren't UN supposed to come in such situations?
Yes, they're supposed to come in, but you know.
And how comes that conversation is not, you know, I don't understand. What's the work of UN?
That sounds like a whole new topic, but I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, where do like these big organizations for human rights,
United Nations,
and everything like step in when like things are on the extreme?
National government organizations solves a lot of things. But UN as a political body that was put in place to prevent wars against countries. And to prevent human rights violations.
So if it's internal,
has been the biggest failure in the world. The worst.
But I hear the funding is good. The funding is good.
Too much. And that is why we are seeing that people are not even working in that organization. So the organization of UN does not have the power and authority to interfere on the sovereignty of countries. So there might be a human rights violation in Tanzania, but the UN, unless under special circumstances, cannot just come and arrest Samia Suluhu, cannot come and police whatever is happening.
Because even now, what if we're talking about 1,000 people dying, isn't that considered like a massacre?
That is considered, you can even consider it as a genocide.
Genocide, actually.
But of course, not a genocide, because genocide sometimes targets a specific
Okay,
ethnic.
true.
But you can consider it as crimes against humanity.
Oh, yeah, true. That's the best term, yeah.
Killing of all these people. But what the UN does is condemn. We are concerned. We have seen. Those are the statements that they can only do. And
we have seen what's happening in Tanzania. You know, they'll do like a press release statement and everything.
So the UN has been like a dog without the teeth. They just bark. That is the only thing.
Do you know any other, like, let's say, female politicians in Tanzania?
Female? No, not really. There are not so many. In fact, there are not so many outspoken female Tanzanians when it comes to politics. I'm talking about a national image, not representative.
Because I'm just trying to see, because regardless of whether people don't touch on like the male, female, we still also have to see like, you know, the way we normally, like if I bring up Pasaris, you know, like the way you normally express yourself, you just feel disappointment and everything. But we also have to look up about like, let's say maybe other females she might be inspiring to get like in positions like, so, you know, I think I was trying to see, let me see if some names, if you know them, There's Zakia Meji.
I've heard about her.
Okay, she served as Tanzanian Minister in Finance from, this is way early, in January 2006 to February 2008. Okay. So let's skip her. And then there's Teresia Pius Luoga Husiva. Jeez, okay, she served as a state of the vice president's office from 2010 to 2014, also like quite older. Let me try and see who else. Okay, there's Halima Abdallah Bulemo. She was like, served as a special seats member of parliament, i.e. women reserved seat in 2015 to 2020. Okay. There's, this Jokate Mwigelo, she was like a socialite or something, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it an artist or actress? But now she represents the younger generation of female politicians in Tanzania and is associated with, guess who? Who? Chama Cha Mapinduzi.
Exactly. That is the only party that...
Youth engagement.
There is no democracy.
So I think also how, like we've talked about it, like they've picked like young popular celebrities, because if we open like, let's say, Jokate, let's open like her Instagram. I'm sure it's flashy with a lot of, just lavish.
Definitely. And maybe you might come across posts.
There you go. Let's open it. Jokate Aban Mwigelo. 9.2 million followers.
Look at how they're using influencers.
Okay. Are you seeing like even just the colors? Before we even go to like...
it's green entirely.
It's green.
I've already seen
pinch of yellow. You can see Suluhu there. But you can see like how, like for somebody who's like super influential.
Look at that.
Yeah.
She does not even take note of the people who died. So despite the fact that Samia has won, has she put out any statement?
Nope.
Condemning, not even condemning, just talking
just saying like, we're sorry about what happened or anything. Like it's even, very clear.
Even Diamond just called for peace, but did not even highlight that there were almost 1,000 youths. People who sing to his music died in Tanzania.
Yep. And that just shows you how money... And I was saying, like, money is very interesting because, like, also, let's not forget, like, during, like, our time, because I'm millennial, Akina KJ used to, like, protest against the government and stuff. But you see, like, they're the same people now in position and people are complaining about them.
Yes.
And I think if we think about, like, how much... The way you've talked about, like, let's say Tanzanian artists get paid... I'm just trying to imagine if it's between like 50 million to 100 million Kenya shillings, that money is a lot.
It's a lot.
And also I would pose this question to you because, again, you're still young and you're growing. I can tell you somebody who would, make a very big difference.
Yes, for sure.
How sure are we? Because I asked this to that lady as well, lady friend of mine. How sure are we? I'm sure you love nice things, right? I'm sure there are a lot of things maybe in your shopping list that you like.
Maybe.
This political thing comes with a lot of money. So how sure are we you might not be compromised at some point?
Okay. For me, it's...
And don't call me later after 5 years that I need to delete this video,
No, definitely not. But for
But
me,
I'm just saying, how do you,
me,
how will you prevent that from happening? Because we've seen it with some of the best people.
Yes. For me, it goes deep for me as an individual.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to live a purposeful life.
Yeah.
I do not just want to live a life whereby I'm just celebrated because I own a good car, because I own a certain amount of wealth. And when it comes to materialisms, that is the most unpurposeful thing that you can ever claim in this world.
Adrian,
so
listen.
Listen to me. For me, my purpose,
this video might be replayed in future. So just tread carefully, yeah?
No,
when somebody's posting like your fleet of cars, like guys, do you remember this guy called Adrian? Look at his fleet of cars.
I would have that car if it's necessary for me and my team to move. But for me, I want a purposeful life.
Okay.
Because I don't believe in just gathering generational wealth and at the same time I'll die.
Okay.
In fact, death is one of my biggest motivation. Now that I will die, what do I really want to do for the people?
You want to leave
in fact, I want to be an inspiring leader. Do you see that there are certain kind of leaders that you will always talk about?
Yeah.
You will talk about, Malcolm did this person did
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson did this. Yeah. There is a certain way that you have inspired people. So if I strive to inspire people and maybe a generation and talk about consistently about those things, people would love and revere me for that. So I would not need to steal money. I would not need to be killing people so that I can keep a hold of that power that I have. So that is what I just strive in politics. And I see that if you strive to do that, you can progressively just grow in politics without having to do a lot of those things.
True.
So I wouldn't want to say I'm perfect, but that is the kind of line that I want to take.
Okay. And then I also have to touch on, of course, we do have our Ugandan friends are preparing for, when is the election?
Is it next year?
Is it about? Let me just check, because now I've also realized, even the last one, when I wasn't fact checking things on my phone, I was saying like some things, but I'm like, that. I think I said Trump was 72 and he's like 78 or 79.
Definitely those things you can never get them right, especially with something.
But I think, let me just fact check for Uganda. When is the next Ugandan elections? Okay, let's see. Google, it's doing its thing. But I'm just saying, because wait. Okay, so the next general election in Uganda is scheduled for January 12th to 15th in 2026.
It's next year.
Okay, so this is very interesting. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I think I also sent you, for Uganda, there's this guy, what's his name? Moses, is it Jen
Ali, the old guy?
Moses Ali. And that's why I'm saying, at times I keep saying, Kenya, we're in a very decent country.
Yes.
When you start looking around, I'm always telling people, pay attention to your surroundings. Look at how ridiculous some things look. That guy looks like he might collapse anytime soon.
In fact, it's not like he looks like. He's literally unfit.
He's a dead man walking. Let me just put it in correct terms.
That's the word, because he walks around with diapers.
And you can just see, I don't understand what the concept is behind that.
If that was happening in Kenya today, Kenyans would go to court and file for you to be stripped away your position, because our constitution allows that if you are unfit because of health to run a certain government position, it can actually be taken away from you.
So how does a Ugandan court actually let this person go through to he's fit for
I was reading about the history of the guy, and the person was actually part of the team of the NRM that actually did the coup in Uganda.
Oh.
And actually were part and parcel of Museveni taking power in Uganda.
Oh, really?
So the person gains a lot of favor from Museveni. So, in fact, Museveni also has this system of any person who fought for NRM, the movement that he had in Uganda, must always keep power. So also the system that we have...
Till you die.
Exactly. So the system that we're having also with CCM in Tanzania, we're also seeing it in Uganda,
Definitely,
whereby
100%.
NRM senior officials, 92, 91, 87, are still holding critical government position by the fact that they fought for that country. In
Yep.
fact, I remember one time Museveni justifying that he's in power because he fought for the independence of that country from the presidency that they had, and that NRM should be left to hold power for as long as they can.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the same to that Mzee who's very old and very fragile. That is the reason why the president wants him to keep vying for positions until he collapses to his
And we can also just automatically say Uganda is almost like Tanzania. It's more aligned like how Tanzania, they run things.
Yeah.
I don't think you can criticize like the Ugandan president. You've talked about like how you can wake up and say like, you have a big head because we did this and this for you.
Yes.
Can you do that in Uganda?
You can't.
Okay. So this takes me back to like last year's episode, how people were ranting about like, no, our Kenyan government is very lenient on a lot of things. And that's why like I also gave an example of like, think about like the most developed countries. The cases of corruption that are there, they are huge. They are huge.
Very huge.
When you talk about like freedom of speech again, like mentioned in the last episode, Charlie
Yes.
Kirk was taken out. Jimmy Kimmel has been fired. Tucker Carlson, show cancelled. Candace Owens was fired and now has to do like her own individual thing. As much as there is freedom of expression, there's some consequences that come with it. So, it's very unfortunate, but that's where we are. And then also like just now as we finalize, just something small about like what's happening in Sudan, because at this point I don't even know what's happening because like what I saw like even on CNN they were saying like there's some things that are fabricated with AI, but we've seen like some videos of like how like I don't know if it's rebels or what's the situation exactly
the situation
if
in
you know
Sudan
anything about it. I don't.
It's very long. In fact,
Yeah,
the
we
moment
can
you-
save
you-
for an
the
episode
moment-
on its own.
Truly. In fact,
Okay.
if you pop the question,
Yeah.
I would love to talk about it even for like 10 minutes. But the situation in Sudan
Yeah.
is very complex. But one thing that I don't love is that people are just talking about Sudan from the point of the UAE proxy,
Okay.
but they do not really want to talk about the extermination of black people in Sudan since time immemorial after independence.
Extermination, how?
Of black people. Do you know that there is a big division in Sudan between Arabs and blacks? And let me give you an important thing. Sudan actually belongs to black people.
Okay.
The Arabs in Sudan are not natives to Sudan.
Mm.
So what happened in the 7th century, there was the Ottoman influence in Northern Africa, whereby most people were converted into Muslim, and also Arabs came in as traders to Sudan. So at that time, Sudan is black. Do you see the Dinka of South Sudan?
Yeah, because I've been to South Sudan,
The
so I
entire-
think that's where I was.
Yes,
then.
so the entire population of Sudan is black.
Yeah.
But now when the Arab traders came in, of course, Africans were very hospitable. They welcomed them, they trade and everything, just like it happened in our coast in where? In Mombasa,
Yeah.
the same way. So they came in. But now the division comes in so far when the British came in. So the
Okay.
British in 1899, they colonized Sudan, something that was not Egypt, Sudan. So the British favors the Arabs more than the majority of the population of black people.
Mm.
So the Arabs now are being given investment, they're being given government positions, and the black people are sidelined. So in fact, after 1956, when the British people now left and they were leaving independence for the people of Sudan, they installed a prime minister who was called Ismail, who was Arab, not a black person. And after that, Ismail imposes Arabic as the national language, despite the fact that Sudan has over 100 different native languages, such as the Dinka, the Dafa, all these languages. And then he appoints Arab administrators and neglect black people. So that is where now the stifle now begins. The black people now start resisting what has been going on in that country. So after that, of course, there's a coup that happens, and the General Mohammed, but there's a general who takes over Sudan. So after he takes over, he now decides to become very radical with Islam. And now he starts something that we call Arabization and Islamicization, whereby he forces people to act in the Arab culture and to convert to Islam. And any person who was against the government of Sudan, they were now being killed. Literally being killed.
So no choice. There's no choice for you to do what you want.
Yes, there were over 1 million people who were being killed. In fact, the first civil war now began in 1983 to 1972, where now the black people now started resisting. But at that time, they had not formed rebel groups to fight the Arabs who were there.
Okay.
They still did not have the capacity. So after 1983 to 1972, there is a peace agreement. It was called the Addis Ababa Peace Agreement. So that Addis Ababa Peace Agreement is what now brings a certain condition, whereby the government says we'll have peace between the North and the South, but we're going to create a secular state. Do you know what a secular state is? I talked about it once. A secular state is whereby they allow secular laws that cover all religions, whereby we do not have Christian law, we do not have Sharia law being the dominant law, or we do not have this law. So the president promises, the northern people, the Arabs, president promises that we'll have a secular system.
Yeah.
So the peace is there for some time. So Jafar was elected now as the president of the entire Sudan. But the problem after that, Jafar walks back on his promise. He declares Sudan an Islamic state. And now still forces black people again to convert to Islam. That is where now things get heated. That is now where we get the second civil war that lasts for almost 20 years. Jeez. So that is what, now we got the greatest leader for South Sudanese, John Garang. If you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So John Garang forms a little army. It was called the Sudan People's Liberation Army, SPLA.
Yeah.
And this army wins over the Arabs so many times.
So this is South Sudan?
Exact South Sudan.
Okay.
In fact, people just say South Sudan, but the people in South Sudan were still the ones who occupied the North
because
Sudan.
when I was there, I was just asking, and like at times, like, when you're coming from a place where you don't know these things, if you just say you're from Sudan, no, they'll correct you. It's like, oh, is it Sudan, no? Or Southern Sudan?
But
like,
they literally used to occupy almost the entire Sudan. They were just pushed down because
Makes
of
sense.
the war between the north part and the south part. And the north borders Egypt, so there are so many Arabs.
Oh, and I guess that's why you find like more light skin, like
more
Sudanese people.
Exactly.
Like, there in the north.
If you see the leaders right now that for RSF, they look Arab in a certain way.
Oh,
they don't
makes
look
sense
like
now.
Dinka, the black people.
Makes
so
sense.
they are pushed there, but they fight, and he strikes major wins. In fact, after striking major wins, that is where now the secession happens.
Yeah.
Where after that, there is international cooperation, and South Sudan is given a promise to now vote for a referendum to have their own country. And in 2011, they vote overwhelmingly, and now they head the new country of Sudan. But now let me tell you why the reason why also the war goes on. There is also a section in South Sudan, not in Sudan, that wants to break away, just like South Sudan.
Okay.
That section is called West Darfur.
So that's on the northern side?
On the north side. In fact, Sudan is divided into three critical areas. We have the North Sudan. North Sudan is Arabs, predominantly Muslim.
Yeah.
The South Sudan is the black people, predominantly Christians. The west part of Sudan is black people, just like South Sudan. They're black, but they are Muslim because they were forced to convert to Islam because they are closer to the people in the north. So these people of West Darfur want again to break away, just like the people of South Sudan.
Okay.
So what happens? The government puts RSF at that region because the moment West Darfur...
RSF are the guys that we're seeing now, like online.
That is a militia that was there. So that militia was first set up by a president called Omar al-Bashir. So Omar al-Bashir, after hearing South Sudan gains the autonomy, he hears that West Darfur also wants to break away from Sudan. So he sets up a militia to do the dirty job for him. That militia was called the Janjaweed militia. Now it was rebranded into RSF. So the Janjaweed militia kills the black people in West Darfur. The reason why they have to do that is because, while South Sudan was seceding, it took away 75% of the oil reserves.
Oh.
that belong to Sudan as a country.
Okay.
So if West Darfur secedes,
Mm-hmm.
they will take about 90% of the gold reserves.
90.
So the northern part, that us Arabs would literally be left with just the port as the critical resource for that country.
And it's so interesting. But you see, again, that's why, again, I always have to say, think about how Kenya, we don't have to think about certain things. It's just like, me, I'm going to Mombasa. Me, I'm going to Mandera. Tomorrow, me, I'm going to Nini. Yes, we do have like those two Nini, like on small margins.
Yeah.
But think about these countries where we're talking about, like, if you go to this part, your life is actually in danger.
Like, you can't go to that. Like,
Yeah.
that ethnic polarization, like the indifference is so much that people just don't even want to associate with each other.
It's very sad, but that's why I'm always saying, like, for me, I'll always preach about like peace on the podcast because I know I'm always trying to tell people, like, just look around you. There are some people in countries where they can't they can't say we're going to Polo like on Sunday. Yeah. They can't say we're going for a car event. They can't say we're going to KICC to watch Sijui Nini. You can't say we're going for like Sijui a concert, Sijui where. No.
In fact, the moment you watch those distressing videos of South Sudanese being killed, is the moment sometimes you just appreciate the peace that
I'm telling you. Most people don't understand.
I saw a clip of 5 people who were told to dig a grave.
I saw that.
And they were told to bury themselves. In fact, they did not shoot them. They were telling them, bury yourself. And I could see them taking the soil, trying to cover. He was covering his friend. All of them are alive. After a few seconds, they shot them all.
Could hear the gunshots now.
I saw them all. And you see that distressing video. Sometimes you just thank God that, of course, maybe you may be in a country where there's too much corruption and everything.
It's okay.
But at the same time, we are enjoying so much peace.
Give me a pinch of corruption any day. I've said it, like, it's okay. Because look at the downside of other people. Like, and think again, it's not about one person making the decision. We can say, like, this person or this MP, but he has people to answer to.
Yes.
He has big dogs that he has to answer to. He doesn't make like the decisions by himself. So it's very unfortunate, but we also have to like just maintain, like, if we have peace, we have to enjoy it, because honestly speaking, there are so many other people they wish. And that's why you see, like, think about like how many raids are done in Kenya nowadays. You hear there's a group of Eritreans just squeezed in a room. They are trying to just come and enjoy and have a different life like in Kenya. Like people from Somalia,
the fact that the
Ugandans, Rwandas.
Right now, Kenya is even going to be having an immigration process.
We might have to right now,
because now Kenya is now seen as the most stable country. Even
a lot of people
Kenyans
coming to Kenya
protest for 1 week, Kenya becomes stable after a few days.
Next week we are good. Guys are going to work. Matatus are working. Everything is just back on point.
No matter how tested Kenya has been, it has proven to be stable.
We're very stable.
So now you are seeing Eritrea is unstable with the war in Tigray. A lot of Eritreans want to come to Kenya. Burundi is having a problem of economy. They want to come to Kenya because Kenya is also tolerant. You wouldn't be seeing ICE coming up on your doorstep like in America to chase you away. Burundians are coming to Kenya.
We don't have that in Kenya.
So South Sudanese, now that they were also having wrangles in the government, most of them are even relocating back to Kenya.
It's much more peaceful to be in Kenya.
Somalians, they are buying passports for 1 million.
Come on, you already know. Kenya. Yeah, you know how like they're just like, literally. And the best thing about Kenya, you can come in, you can invest, you can do. In other countries, you can't.
Kenyans are not
impossible.
Kenyans are not xenophobic. I would literally be. I used to stay in an apartment that had South Sudanese, that had Somalis, not Kenyan, Somalis from Somalia. They were also Burundians at the same apartment. And we talk about everything, and they love Kenya so much. In fact, those people love Kenya than most of us.
They have a good time here. And I'm always telling people, are you seeing like when, somebody's just here, they're walking in shorts, they're, oh my God, this country is beautiful, the weather is nice.
Like, don't you miss South Sudan? It tells me, no, I love Kenya. I love Kenya.
Kenya is beautiful. It's beautiful. So at times we do take a lot of things for granted, but it's because we haven't had the extreme side. But I'm always saying, like, just pay attention to what's happening in other countries.
Definitely.
Trust me, you'll start thinking differently. Or not even that. Just travel. Once you travel around a few countries here and there, come on, you'll come back and say, like, Kenya. I love, when people are abroad and then you see that Kenyan bracelet, ask them why. Ask them why. They
Travel.
know why. They know
Travel,
why.
go to Gaza,
Yep.
go to Sudan,
Yep.
go to Tigray region, go to all these war-infested places, go to Afghanistan.
Yep.
See the kind of life people are living.
They've never had peace. They don't even know what
They
peace
don't
is.
even have it right now. They don't even have a government that you run to, a system that is in place to help you.
How long has the Gaza thing been going on?
It has never stopped.
Since I was a kid.
It has
Since
never
I was a
stopped.
kid,
Not
like I don't
you were
even,
not even born.
before, and it's still ongoing. That's how crazy and extreme it can get. But anyway, guys, I'm trying to make the political episodes to be 1 hour so that we can be able to just compress everything, because politics happens so every day there's something new happening. So probably in 2 weeks again we can touch down on something.
Yes.
But I appreciate your time, man. Of course you're definitely always coming in with your facts,
For sure.
low perspective, and Of course, I wish you nothing but the best, but I know in another 2 weeks we'll do something else.
Definitely.
So tell people where they can find you, and if you have anything else that you want to...
Adrian Oluoch, all platforms. Like I said, I'll also be thinking of creating very good content. I'm still just finding a way to have a master plan and also the consistency. But you can find me on Adrian Oluoch on all platforms. But if you want to engage with me personally for personal things, events and everything, contact me mostly on Instagram. My TikTok, I don't really reply to requests.
Till next time, guys. We have to say goodbye for now. Cheers. Peace.
Goodbye.
The Kisscapades podcast is your gateway to holistic growth and personal transformation. Together, we'll unlock the secrets to living a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. So make sure to tune in every week and join us as we explore the essence of what it means to truly thrive. And lastly, show us some love and support in our social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically all the social media platforms that support podcasting will definitely be there. Even with the short clips and reels, you can find us there. And lastly, don't be shy with feedback, suggestions, or any questions that you might have in regards to the episodes or our podcast. It's the Kisscapades podcast. Goodbye.
Peace.